So we got this just before Christmas. This is one of the many microprocessor knees. Can you lift your pan like that there for me? So the upper beige portion is the socket. That's the part that interfaces with his leg. You'll notice there's a couple of locks. He's a fairly active guy, so we really want to make sure that it stays on. The lower button on the inside of the knee, there's a lock on the end of the socket, and then there's a tab on the outside that's very similar to like a ski boot tab, and it locks into the socket so that everything stays on. Every time we add a new technology to a prosthesis, it makes it heavier, so we don't want those things coming off. So I'm going to exit out of this for just a minute here, so that you can see what I can see. So when a patient comes in, we take them through this wizard, basically, a standard software type wizard. And there's a couple of things that the software is very keen on learning. Number one is called the toe threshold. The way that every prosthesis works is that it is safe when you step on the heel. The knee locks in some sort of geometrical locking position, some sort of safe position, whether it's a mechanical lock or in this case, a microprocessor controlled lock. And as you keep your weight on it through the stance phase, it stays locked. But then once you get up over the toe, it's anticipating your next step and it'll go into flexion. As you can imagine, that's a big safety issue. We don't want that going into flexion too early. We don't want it staying stiff the entire way through the gait cycle. And so the software is very keen on learning at what point and what activity and what weight does the patient have to put on it in order to trigger it into flexion. So we have that set already. I want to show you what we can see. Okay. Would you mind walking back and forth across the stage here? So when he's on the rear 2/3 of the foot, it stays in a safe position. As he gets to the forward third, it starts sensing parameters that we've pre-programmed into the software to release the knee in a safe way. Okay, can you keep the foot out in front of you and just on the heel? So he can put a lot of his weight into it and it won't release. It does have a gradual yield where he can push and lean into the prosthesis. Depending on how I set it up the last time I saw him, it will release at a different point. But the patient needs to know and have confidence that it will be safe and accept his weight. You can see on the streaming data that I'm able to track this in the clinic, so while I'm trying to fine-tune his walking parameters, I can ask him, do you feel safe? Do you feel like it's letting go when you want it to let go? Does it bend when you want it to bend? We'll have him walk down ramps and stairs similar to what we have here. To make sure that he's able to navigate all of those. Would you mind going back and forth just a couple more times? So these parameters over here show me how much load he's getting, how much of a torque moment he's getting through the joint, at what point in the cycle. I can freeze it and save it and record it. It helps us justify it to insurance companies as well. We can see the angle, the tilt angle that this unit has, the rate at which it's processing, and its peaks, both high and low peaks of data. That data helps us also track his activity level. It also gives us a step counter, which for a patient that's only had this for 3 months, having near 350,000 steps is pretty amazing. He's a pretty active guy, as you can see. Then we can also fine-tune his data. So if I don't like how the wizard sets up